This is episode 78 of the Hybrid Coaching Podcast. In this episode, I get a special guest, Elite 15 athlete, world's podium finisher, Dylan Scott, to join me, talk about his training philosophy and coaching philosophy, as well as we preview the HYROX Major number 2 for this year, taking place in Melbourne this weekend. We'll go both through the solo and the doubles. Let's make hybrid fitness work for you. How's it going today, Dylan?
Good. I wasn't given the memo about the Santa hats. Didn't know I was supposed to break that out.
It's December.
If we had one at the house, I'd get one, but I don't think we do.
It's December. I just usually wear it all December. It's just nice.
Very festive person, I hear.
Dude, I wear it and I'll warm up in it sometimes, or just start my workout in it. And my workout the other day, I was lifting first. And I lifted and then I went and took my hat off. And then when I got done with the workout, I cooled down a little bit. And then I went to go change my shirt and put my hat back on. And it was soaked and it dripped down. I was like, oh my God, this is gross. Oh, didn't realize I had sweat that much during the strength because this was on. It absorbed it all.
Yeah.
And afterwards I was like, oh, that was terrible. Bad idea.
I'm hoping you've washed it since then.
Yeah, I cleaned them.
Right,
I also have two of them. So
got a backup Santa hat.
Yeah. I lost it one year, and Lily likes to take it and wear it, so
of course,
got to make sure it's clean.
Yes, that totally makes sense. If we have Santa hats, if they get broken out here in the house, then I'm sure August will put his on and we'll lose his, and then take the next one as they do.
All right, so everybody out there, if you don't know, today my guest is Dylan Scott. Dylan is. I'd like to talk a little bit about his training and coaching philosophy, and we'll talk to Dylan, the coach, not necessarily Dylan, the athlete, though they probably overmix and intermix a lot. But Dylan has probably had one of the best 2025 seasons of any Elite 15 athlete. Won the Las Vegas Major, was third at the World Championships, second at Hamburg, and he's had 2 times within 23 seconds of even the new world record so far this year between New York and Hamburg. Haven't really had a bad race this year, would you say? Or do you feel like you've had one?
I had one bad race, and it was in Miami. That was a pretty bad race for me down there. But that was more so just a byproduct of stomach problems than it was anything else than fitness related, because it wasn't but a month after that I went and ran a 53 something up in New York. And then so other than that, Miami didn't go that great. But almost all the other races have been really good. Vegas was good when we got into the Elite 15 from the race in in Houston with Jim McConnell. That was good. Worlds was good. I've been racing a lot more consistently positive, and then racing overseas for the first time, racing well. That was really my first good showing when I've traveled. So so far it's been a really productive season. I've been finishing on the podium at almost every single event I've showed up to, which has been nice.
Yep. And I don't know, Dylan, if you know this, but Dylan and I also ran our first HYROX race together. He started in the heat behind me. So he was 15 minutes back. And I remember for some reason I was leading my heat. Obviously I was leading my heat into the ski erg and out of the ski erg. Not so much after that, but I remember I was somewhere around the farmer carry, maybe on the rower, and I kept seeing you on the runs. And I kept seeing you, and for some reason I thought we were in the same heat. And then when I realized you were going to a station behind me, I was like, this guy looks fast. I want to just finish before he finishes, even though he started the heat behind me. You started 15 minutes behind me. And do you remember what your time was in that Dallas race, 2021?
My time was 65:51 with an extra lap.
Okay. Do you you ran an extra lap?
Yeah, I ran an
Dang, I
extra
didn't even
lap
know that.
after
Okay.
the sled pull, I think.
Okay. So just if anybody doesn't know, he started 15 minutes behind me. He finished 65:51. I got no rep on my last wall ball, and I watched Dylan cross the finish line before I crossed, and I finished in 81:01. So I lost
I
my
didn't
goal
realize,
there by 10 seconds watching you run across
dude,
the line.
I did not realize that we had our first races were the same race together. I've never heard this story actually.
Yeah. And I only put that together after like couple of years. I was like, he's that guy. He's that guy. I remember thinking that.
Dude, I
But
love when that actually comes together. I remember my first so you know Chair Jackson. Um
yeah.
so her boyfriend, Daroon. All right. I remember the first Spartan race I ever went to. We were like standing in the line for registration or whatever. And I had never, this was the first time I'd ever raced. And he was like standing in line, he was talking. And I don't know why, but I pinpointed Darun. I was like, I want to beat that motherfucker. Like, I just, for some reason, no reason why, but that's just who I had in my head. And I was beating him all the way up until the last obstacle. I failed. And as I'm burping out, he comes past me and I see him. And I'm so like, I'm so mad. Now I know Darun and I like Darun, but the first impression, I was like, dude, I hate Darun. I want to destroy this guy. And it's funny when it comes back around and then you meet the person like actually and you're like, oh dude, you're a chill guy. But I had originally
Yeah.
created an opponent out of you.
Well, like I think in my head it was he's the tall, skinny guy. I was much like a stronger athlete just trying to run hard. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, I got to be able to beat him. Like if I can, and then I realized you're the heat behind me, but it didn't matter at that time. I still wanted to, like, I was like, I can get it.
Should have
So
done better reps at the wall balls.
I got no rep to my last one. I don't, it was before the targets too. And like, yeah, I was done. But I've taken up almost 15 minutes off my time. And so I'm less than 15 minutes away from you now. So
That's what's your fastest pro?
66 something, 66 mid high.
Yeah, you're within 13 minutes of me. I don't see myself taking it down to 51 something anytime soon. So I think if you start a heat, hey, but the heats are like 10 minutes apart now, aren't they?
Oh yeah, they are.
We
All
could have a
right.
race. We could have a
All right.
race.
I gotta go hit that 62. Feel better
Yeah,
about it.
if you drop a 62 on me, I don't have a chance. But if you go
There we
run a
go.
65, you could be hunted down.
Spot me a one heat difference. That's all I need.
We ought to
All
try
right.
this one. We ought to line this up.
Yeah, let's do it. Figure it out. When's the next pro race you're gonna be at? You'd have to go heat two.
It would be probably Miami.
I don't even know when Miami is.
Miami's at some point in March, I believe, maybe April, might be April. Um, yeah, that'd be the first one that I'll be doing that I can think. Maybe Houston. Houston's in March. Maybe we could do something there. I don't have anything, but and that's a little
No, I
closer to
can't do
you.
Houston because I'm going to the HYROX 365 Coaches Summit in London.
All right, what's more important? Like,
Well, I'm gonna speak at that, so I think I'm gonna.
see, again, what's more important? Like, do you want to
That's
talk about it
true.
or do you want to be about it, Anthony? Come on,
Yeah,
let's.
there we go. There we go. All right. Maybe I'll let you get a couple elite races in, and then we'll do it on like a Sunday of an elite race when I'm there, so that
Okay.
you're beat down and tired. Make it like your fourth or fifth race of the weekend.
All right, that's fine. I need to do some prep work for that, kind of being
Yeah.
tired for Worlds anyway.
All right. So Dylan, as far as I know about your history as an athlete and stuff, you started. Talk to me about like when you started coaching. From what I knew, you now have your own coaching brand and business, but you
Mhm.
had previously started with Marcus Friesen.
Yeah. So he was who I'd really started coaching with. I think for the longest time in the space, like I've always been my own coach. So like from the time I started like in this sport, I just wrote stuff for myself, and followed that. And I felt good about it, but I also felt like I wanted to take a lot of time developing what I thought was the pathway for being good at this sport and figuring out what the demands were and what responses people would get from certain types of training. Before I ever started being like, oh, you know what, I'm going to be a coach and I'm going to sell people things. Like, so I didn't want to just have just just an N of one kind of this works for me, so it must work for everyone sort of deal. At first I started with myself, and then from there, what I started doing was instead of offering coaching out to people, I would just talk with folks over what their training looked like, say, hey, maybe implement this, implement that. How do you feel like this impacted your training kind of deal? And slowly started to get just some less formal kind of feedback on how this was improving people's racing. And then after like 3 years of doing that for myself and then working with like friends and other people, I was like, I feel pretty confident that I understand the sport. And I feel pretty confident that if we start applying these different stimuluses over these different time frames, we're going to start getting a good result from folks. So it was it would have been March of 2024. Marcus had started up his coaching program, and he had been doing it for about a year and a half, 2 years at that time point. And he had always said, "Hey, if you want to come on and like coach just up under the TFM name or whatnot, I can provide you a platform to coach under and all that kind of stuff. And you're going to be writing, just one-on-one programming for your athletes. We're not going to have any crossover or anything like that. So it wasn't like we were co-coaching or anything. It was just I'll be under TFM. This will give you a platform to coach under." And he was like, I trust you and everything like that. So I did that for a year, just kind of on my own, working up under him and working within the TFM team and grew that clientele and started seeing like a lot of good results from folks. And was like feeling good about, okay, yeah, we've kind of figured out like what we need to do to help people progress in HYROX, whether this be somebody who's a top end level athlete or somebody who's middle of the pack or somebody who's never, stepped into the race before. Um, and so took that off on my own after what would have been, I guess, a year and a half. I branched off and started my own business with Hybrid Raccoon Racing and all that. And it was all under the circumstances of like Marcus was like, hey, I think you should go. Like, I think you can make more money by yourself. I think you should go do it by yourself. So just whenever you're ready, just go ahead and start your own thing and go. And you take whatever clients you have. I don't care. Like, because we were friends way before we ever worked together. I met him through HYROX back in 2021. And he's been a awesome like just friend and resource for me, honestly, in terms of helping to grow and develop within this sport. And then also like if there is somebody that I turn to where I'm like, hey, I need to from the very rare times where I feel like I need to lean on somebody else psychologically or something like that to, hey, can you help me, work through why I'm having this problem or something like that within the racing world. He's been in a lot of different scenarios across different sports, whether it be higher level CrossFit, whether it be cycling at the international level. Like he's a very good athlete and a very level-headed person, somebody I trust. So came off of that, started my own coaching business, and have been doing that now by myself, since the I would say July-ish of this year. And so it's been fairly new that I've been doing it on my own. And then recently, as of middle of September, was able to leave my job and I can just full time be a coach and an athlete. And I've been doing that for the last 2.5 months.
That's fantastic. It's nothing better than like building your own and like being able to support yourself. It's a lot of pressure on you too, but like, and I know
Yeah.
your job had you traveling a lot, so it's good to be more centralized like that as well.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
so you talked about building it on your own and like how you experimented with yourself too. Do you have well, I guess we'll start here. How do you build your program? How do you build it for anybody around? Is it I know that in our space here you're known as volume, right?
Yeah.
So you don't just gonna throw somebody new to 30 hours a week to working out. So like how do you progress them and how do you do it for yourself?
Well, so yeah, first off, I am known for like training super high volume and doing it that way. And that's also the thing, like, just because it works for you does not mean it works for everybody. So don't take whatever you've done as your blueprint and be like, well, I just apply it to all athletes. And of course, they're going to have the same results. No, they're not. Everybody responds to things differently, completely differently. And so, I mean, the very first thing that I need to know from somebody is what have you been doing? Like before I can start giving you anything, like where are you coming from? What have you been doing? And okay, how long have you been applying that for? So I have to take that first. Second, I think it comes down to understanding the race. Like what are the demands of the race? And once you have an understanding of what the demands of the race are, then you can start creating a program for folks where you go, okay, I think that over the last, however long your training life has been, you've put emphasis points here, here, and here. Well, those emphasis points align in a little bit with this, but we need to slowly start to migrate you towards a program that starts to promote the points of the race that need to be emphasized while not suddenly overloading your system and working different movement patterns and all kinds of different loads and stimuli that have never been touched on before. Because what we're going to do is we're just going to overload your system and you're going to either end up injured by a new movement pattern or new mechanical stresses or something like that. So everybody that comes in, I've got to go over what you've done in the past. And then I can start to figure out, okay, how do we slowly shift you towards what I believe is going to promote the best outcome from your training? And then we start applying that and seeing if it is making the changes that are expected or if your body responds a little differently. So we'll slowly build those things up and then apply it to a race, see what the race outcome was, and then go from there. But yeah, you're gonna have a lot of different branches that you're gonna have to work off of, and it's not just a straight path.
Yeah. Do you have a basic structure, like a weekly structure, 9-day structure, 10-day structure, or is it like more freestyle about like how you're feeling that day? And this could be for you or somebody you're
Yeah,
coaching.
for me, it's a little more freestyle, and I think that that had come from for the longest time while I was training myself. I was training myself with that full-time job that had me traveling all over the US and all the time, and so I had to be very intuitive with what can I push myself with today? How does this line up with my schedule? Am I going to get a phone call? And it turns out that while I had like a 14 week or 14 like day block that I could have potentially laid out in a certain way, actually I'm going to be going to a different state on this day because we have to so I have a more freestyle approach to it, but I have a rough outline of how I would like my weeks to look and over what time frames within the season I would like to be emphasizing different things. Or if I come off of a race and I notice that there was just something that was really lacking, and I felt impacted the race heavily, hey, I should probably shift the emphasis that I was going to place at this time point to something else. Now, for my own athletes, that's going to be a little bit different because a lot of people, one, I'm not going to have them doing as much volume as I'm doing. So I'm going to need them to be a little stricter. But I do make sure to emphasize in there, like, hey, if we are just not hitting on that day and we have a hard workout or something programmed for that day, I expect you to pivot and to be like, I went out there and I warmed up and I just feel like death. All right, VO2 max intervals aren't going to work today. You're not going to be able to hit that. So we're not going to mess with that. So there's the understanding that one, most of the time we're not programming for full-time athletes. Like
Right.
I'm programming for somebody else with a job who plays multiple different roles, and I know that their training's not going to be perfect. So I tell them, hey, we're going to try to lay out the ideal structure for giving you hopefully the best benefits and returns. But I do understand that there are going to be time points where you're going to go, I didn't sleep enough last night, my kid's sick, this is wrong, and I cannot emphasize training today. Great, we're going to revise down to an easier version. We're just going to keep the body moving. And so it's like that. I want to lay out what I would say is ideal for your circumstance and situation, but understanding that if we are not able to keep that up, I get it because we're not working with elite athletes that are just living the life of a full-time professional.
Yeah. So you didn't purposely implement a 61 minutes of 15 burpees a minute while you were stuck in the airport on your training plan. That was the freestyle portion.
That was the freestyle portion. That was definitely the freestyle portion. That was me
That's,
going, well, I guess we're stuck here. I'm not going to get to do intensity tomorrow, and I don't have much in terms of what I can use for intensity today. I guess we're jumping up and down. Yeah.
so, guys, if you ever want to get just a workout and you're like, what can I do to Dylan posts some great ones. And actually, I think I told you this is a few months ago, maybe it was last year. I had screenshot a workout from you at the time that I couldn't do, like not physically couldn't do, but like I had been hurt, so I wasn't able to do it. And then
Yeah.
like a year after you posted it, I sent it back to you and was like, here, I did it. Uh, but if you ever follow him, he does post good workouts, some killer ones too. I saw you posted that, was it the 5K at 10% and then a 5K ski and then the
Yeah.
2K row. And then you and Steven have been knocking some workouts out in his garage with some incline running and some skiing.
Yes. Yeah, dude, I'm big fan.
So
I'm a big fan of the incline. Somebody sent me that test like 4 years ago, and said that it was something that I believe it was the Norwegian cross country ski team would test with.
yeah.
And so I wanted to revert back to it and do it again. And
What'd you
uh,
run at during it?
so it's a 10% incline, and I sat at 7 miles an hour for most of it, which is right about 8:30 pace.
Yeah.
So, which hurts. Like incline running hurts a different way because once your legs get kind of like you got off that and started trying to ski and your quads feel insanely pumped. Like not as pumped as like when you come off the bike at the end of acid bath.
Yeah.
But that's a whole different level of pump. But you felt like you tried to like throw any kind of like downward force with your legs, and you were just like, dude, my legs just feel like they're pumped. Like all you want to do is just hinge at the hips and pull because you're like, I can't create any force right now, and it takes like 10 minutes of the ski before it starts to go away.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. No, I know that's one that I've seen a couple times, and I know it's one that I want to give to Lauren, and I know she will want to do, but I think it's just the 5K uphill run, though, not necessarily the 5K ski. Um, all right. So throughout your career here, have you had any personal experiences or specific like aha moments that have shaped your training co or coaching philosophy?
I think that I think that the hardest thing to do when you're trying to get better is to let yourself slow down. And is to actually take a step back and let yourself rest to any capacity because you just feel like, especially with a new sport that's accelerating really quickly, um, you're thinking that I have to keep moving the ball forward every single day. And so it hasn't been like one aha moment as much as it's been a series of understanding. Like I think the first 2 years, I probably used to flog myself a little bit too much on days when I just didn't have it. And I would keep trying to throw the spaghetti noodle at the wall and make it stick. And it was like, brother, this spaghetti noodle ain't sticky today. And I was like, come on, stick. And it just wouldn't. And I would end up, what I'd end up doing is I would end up exhausting myself so much that I would just tank. And what would happen is not only does it stunt you athletically, but like in my own personal life, I would push myself so far and so hard that I would be useless. Like I would get up and I'd be like, I can't, like, there's nothing I can do today. Um, and that actually had to start, it starts going away when you're a parent because a kid doesn't care. Kid doesn't care how tired you are. And so once I started, like once August was born, it started becoming you really need to measure your effort on those days when you're tired and understand that now, again, as a professional athlete, you would want to be able to just focus just all on, okay, I can make myself as tired as possible. But it was actually better for me to have him demanding some of my attention and energy because it made me be a little more conservative when I was not being conservative enough and actually leveled me out. So what really happened was having a secondary reason for conserving energy that was more important than I'm conserving it for training later on in the week or whatever, but I'm conserving it so I have something to be a parent and not just be a deadbeat, uh, became a really good way to get myself to measure my effort better and not just run myself into the ground. So, oddly enough, having more responsibility made me better as an athlete than taking me away from the other way around.
I have a question for you on the fatherhood one, but as you say that, like just becoming a parent and Augie and Lily were born around the same time.
Yeah.
They're about the same age, but we both became parents. Do you ever look back and are like, when was I ever busy before this child? Like, what in my life, like, what was busy? Because you don't know, like, personally, I'm like, I don't understand what I did with my free time if I had any, like, beforehand, because now you really don't.
Yeah. I mean, at least for me, I did still feel very busy. In the sense that like I did feel like because I was training a ton and then working and traveling and everything. So what really actually sucked was when early on in his life and everything, I was like I was too busy. I was too busy to be present, and I was always just exhausted because I was stretching it really thin. And now I'll say these last 2.5 months have been like some of the happiest months of my life because I mean, yeah, I've traveled around and raced a bit, but I've been home a lot and I've been with him a lot and I've been with my wife, Maria, and that wasn't something that I was able to do for a long time. Like I would leave, I'd be up early before everybody else. I'd be out of the house, or I'd be asleep before everyone else. And like a lot of the parenting was falling on her, and I was trying to really live both lives of like, okay, I got to make income here because I'm not making income as an athlete yet, and I know I'm gonna get there, but like I mean, we were burning the candle hot, man. And
Yeah.
so that's what it was. And now I am in a place where I have a really good work life and training balance, and I'm not so busy that I can't be there. But it's definitely like when he's home, he will demand your attention. Like
Yeah.
you might be able to, get them a little bit appeased with they watch a show for a little while or they'll play with something for a little while. But a lot of times, is the second he sees me, it's like, we're are we gonna play? We're doing this. Let's fight. Like there's always something.
Yeah, and I'm glad you're on that journey now, the last 2.5 months. I actually probably entered that about 15 months ago, a little over a year
Okay.
ago now. I stopped doing full-time engineering and I still do
Hmm.
it part-time. Like I still have a job, like an engineering job that I'll work like 10 hours a week, but it's
Yeah.
just freed me up to focus on the coaching, focus on like these other aspects of things that I do. And I get to spend more time with her, which also helps free up Lauren. Like, so um it's just great to like actually interact. And now that they're at that age, that 3-year-old like toddler that are way more interactive and
Yes.
everything. So my question then about this is like, how do you adopt your training to meet the demands of being a father? Like, how do you do that? I mean, I've seen it before, but I guess I'm leading you into you incorporate them
Yeah, for sure.
into
Like, I mean,
what you're doing.
he's involved with a ton of it. Like, I mean, he's at a lot of the workouts we're doing. I mean, luckily we have like my bike is just in the living room. My rower's just in the living room a lot of the times. Like, so if I'm doing easy stuff, he's just chilling with me. He gets on his bike. I think he's got the same kind of bike that Lily has. So you hear about the pirate stories and
Yep.
trying to get to the ice cream shop on
Yeah.
time.
They turn the little knob and start pedaling. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So so like he'll ride his little bike beside me while I ride mine and everything. But I mean even very early on in his life, like in the mornings when Maria was still sleeping and I'd get him up and he'd need a bottle, I would be on a bike or holding a bottle into the like thing, having him propped up and then I hold him like so he's been around fitness his whole life and that's kind of what he knows. And what he thinks is normal and like I'm happy that that's his normal. Um Am I able to include him all the time with everything? Of course not. Like when you ramp up intensity to I'm going all out right now, okay, I can't think about a kid. Like somebody else is gonna have to take him for this time period. But for the most part, like the last thing I want to do is exclude him from this kind of stuff. Like, okay, it
Yeah.
might be a little bit more complicated to have him around, but the benefits are enormously like outsize the I got to pay a little attention because once they learn kind of how to stay out of the way and discipline and all that kind of stuff, it's really not that hard.
Yeah. We usually, unless we'll let her be around because you can control anything within our workouts, except for if we're doing something like jump rope or kettlebell swings, like we'll make
Hmm.
sure she's definitely far out of the way for those.
Yeah, yeah, it makes sense.
But
There's, I
otherwise,
mean, yeah, anytime I take a barbell overhead, I don't want him near or anything like that. Just on the off chance that I lose balance or something like that, and it just once it's up that high, it has just such a broad radius that it could go. So anything like that, I won't keep him around as close, but I mean, it's still okay. He's like 10 feet away. All right, I'm probably not gonna launch at 10 feet. Like,
yeah, you just reminded me. I see some of your videos of Olympic lifting, and I,
oh
uh,
boy,
I'm glad that you're doing it.
thank
I
you,
like it.
thank you. It's bad. I understand that. It's
No,
bad.
I mean, everybody starts somewhere. Like, there's a
Yeah,
reason it's
it's not.
called weightlifting age, you know? Like,
Yeah,
and it's a huge technique thing. We spend when you're actually like doing snatches and clean and jerks, you are spending half an hour on technique with just a barbell before you ever pick them up and like
yeah.
all these other things. And you don't have that extra time to do that outside of like it doesn't contribute to your eventual goals. Um, but I'd be glad to get hands on you one day and be like, hey,
Dude,
just
I could use it. But honestly, I've been pleasantly surprised that just playing with it like 2 times a week, like I went from I was missing squat snatches at 95 pounds to I hit 120 the other day, and I was like, All right, that's 25 pounds
So
added on. Like,
yeah, but that's, I mean, it's all technique. I'd say that right now. And
yeah,
I can tell you as well that look, watching you, because I'll watch your stories, I watch everything, and you've progressed for sure from the first time you were doing it, like
for
years
sure.
ago to now. Like it's getting better and it's just touches on it, right? It's how many
Yeah,
times you touch something.
yeah, exactly. But at the end of the day, I was never built to be a good Olympic lifter from the underlying, from the outer to the underlying physiology. The fast twitch muscle, not there. The
It
limb
just,
proportions and everything, not good. Like, I'm made to row a boat and run long distances, and that's mostly what I'm made to do.
there you go. Well, you're doing very good at that stuff.
I
So
appreciate it.
that's my question then. So what's in this space? And yes, guys, we are going to get to the Melbourne talk, but I have a lot of questions for Dylan because I haven't got to chat with him uh, like this since probably Chicago 2022. Um,
Yeah.
what's your ultimate goal in this space beyond just winning? You can include winning, but like, what's your ultimate goal, whether as a coach or an athlete? Because Lauren and I had a talk the other day, and we realized that like these people, you, JK, like all the people in this sport that we're talking to, these are now, especially since you've made the jump that this is your livelihood. This might be people we're interacting with for 20 years, like
Hmm.
plus years. This is our career now. And it's not just 1, 2, 3 years. It's not just your athletic career. Like this sport, as long as it's around, we could be the eventual, like you could see this is your life, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so as you have goals in the space and whether they're, this year goal, next year goal, 5 year goal, 20 year goal, whatever it is, um, it can be winning or coaching. What are they?
Yeah, so I mean, if we look at it from a let's go from the athlete side. Um, Whenever I started this, and I've said this multiple times, I never like started this with the idea of trying to be a world champion. Never did. Never was training that way. Never had that on my radar. Even when I was, like two years ago, probably still wasn't thinking that. Um, I was just thinking I'm pretty good at this, and I keep getting better, and I like getting better. Um, this might be the first year where like world being a world champion's on my radar. But even then, I think about the fact that I've done things bigger than I ever thought I would have achieved from an athletic sense, and none of them made me happy or satisfied. Like for more than just a momentary blip of like, okay, I'm happy with that. Like glad I did that. That's good. So I also know that if I say, man, I'd really love to win a world championship, I'll win a world championship and I'll be happy for a day. Like and then maybe later on in life, I'll be like, cool, I was a world champion. Like, that's awesome. But I'm probably not gonna sit up like at night when I'm 65, 70 years old and like rip my hair out because I failed to win a world championship. And maybe maybe some people see that as like a weak point of like you should be hungrier to win it. I see it honestly from my end as that's probably the best way for me to win it is to not be overly obsessed with it. And understanding how much joy it's actually going to bring to my life. Um, in addition to whatever monetary incentives would come with it, promotional opportunities, all of that. Uh, so if this is going to be my life, I better enjoy it. I think it's that. I think I better enjoy being in this and trying to figure out how to improve and move the ball incrementally. And if it also happens to culminate in Dylan Scott stands on top of the world championship podium, hell yeah, that's great. But when I'm still racing 2 or 3 years after I've won a world championship and I'm not winning, but I'm still maybe getting better, but the sport has progressed so much that it's like, he's finishing third and fifth, but he's still around and he still smiles at races and he's not jaded because he can't win a champ. Like, I'm in a good place then. And that's where I'd want to be at, where I've improved my PRs, where I'm 34 years old. Maybe I have one world championship under my belt. I'm not the world record holder, but damn, he's still in the mix. That means I've done a good job of keeping myself motivated and engaged. So from an athlete standpoint, that's how I see it. That's where I want to be with things.
Good. That's a
Um,
really positive, good mindset, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Whether or not I can hold to that, I'm not sure. Like that could be aspirational more than anything, but it definitely feels like that's where my brain is, and that's where it's been since I've accomplished more and more. Like I haven't just been hungry to win. I've been much more hungry to just stay engaged. And that's a good place to be at. The next thing, if we look at it from a coaching aspect, I want over time to be working with some of the top athletes within the sport, to help, let's say this makes it to the point where it is an Olympic sport. I would love to be involved with the U.S. HYROX team, you know?
Yeah.
I would love to be involved with that group, involved with okay, who's somebody who has a great idea of what it takes to be amazing in the sport from a training standpoint, but also who can spot talent, who can spot the intangibles that people have that are going to allow them to get into that track, that are going to make them the best, like they're going to be the Olympic champion in 2040 or something like that,
Mhm.
you know? I would love to be involved to that level. And I also want to be a resource in the sport for people who are still taking part in it recreationally, and know that, okay, like this coach he's been one of the best athletes. He's also helped progress some of the best athletes, but he's not so far removed from the mass of the sport that he's not engaged with just making everybody a little bit better. So like I want to be putting out things that are helping people develop over the long term, because there's no reason to think that this sport can't run long term, unless it's just severely mismanaged and it has its reputation damaged. And is it always going to be on this trajectory it's on now? Of course not. Like it is riding a hype train. Um, but it's riding a hype train that's like legitimately backed, I believe, by the hunger for folks to have some kind of competitive outlet that is standardized but test a lot of different variables of fitness without being overly complex. Um, it gives people from all these different sports a way to come in. Um, and it could be like triathlon in my degree. That's what it aligns with most, in my opinion, as opposed to CrossFit, which it gets most commonly compared to.
Yeah, I agree. I would absolutely say that. Those are great goals. I like that a lot. Especially like the Olympic, being part of the Olympic team is just, yeah, absolutely a dream. That would be
Yeah,
really
that'd be
cool. I mean, I'm
sick.
assuming that the first time it comes up, you're probably going to be aiming for the U.S. Olympic athlete spot, but you got
Yeah, that's if I can stretch it that far, because that'd be
that's six and a
2032, and
half
that'd be,
years.
I've got to, hey, I like to think of the fact that I have a younger training life than my age of 30, because I had 3 years that I didn't like train at all because of my back. So like,
Yeah, so you get those back, right?
yeah, I was a late bloomer. I hit puberty late. Let's just hope that like I'm a late faller offer.
Look, I mean, you would still be in your 30s. There's been 40-year-old Olympians before in other
Yeah.
sports, so you're good. All right. Well, actually, speaking of, since you talked about like HYROX and it's as long as it's on the right trajectory and it's not severely mismanaged, which I don't ever think it will be unless something drastic happens. But here's one that I have for you. Is there anything in this field or in HYROX, maybe hybrid fitness in general or HYROX specifically, that you feel very strongly about that no one seems to agree with you on?
Ooh. Um, okay. So I don't know if I would say nobody agrees with me on it, but it's something that I think you're going to see adopted more and more, and it's how much cycling actually helps for high rocks and running in general. Um, and I think that like, so if I'm putting together a program for somebody, I love to have them on the bike a decent amount. I think that there's a ton of value from that. Now, of course, if we're short on time or anything, you have to lean towards specificity. Like nothing's better for running than running. But I think that we've seen a good many guys in the Elite 15 elevate their levels with high level cycling, like high volume cycling, and then very specific running, as opposed to just pounding out crazy high mileage. And I think you're seeing that also within the running world, that you're getting a lot more people on the bike, to do some of this lower end aerobic work. And I've had people like just push back on me before and be like, I don't know why you're doing that. Like you're wasting time on that, or this isn't specific enough. It's not. And I'm like, I think there's something there. And I'll like, you're gonna have to pry my C2 bike out of my cold dead hands before you get me to stop cycling the amount that I do. I've seen too much transference for it. I'm seeing too many people in the specific running space that are coming from a cycling or a partial cycling background. Like you can look at I mean, we can look at Alex Yee over the weekend. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
He's a triathlete, does a lot of his
His
work on the
his
bike.
marathon. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, he's ran two marathons now, and he's now the second fastest Brit behind Mo Farah.
exactly. Yeah,
If you look at Eliud Kipchoge, while he was hurt, what was he always doing? He was cycling. You go over to some of the middle distance runners, or like Parker Valby. She relies a lot on either bike or arc trainer. And then the other girl that I'm thinking of she's an 800 meter, 1500 meter runner. It's not Keely Hodgkinson. It's a different girl. Maybe not Jim Mariki. Her name's slipping me, but I could pull it up. She does like 70% of her work on the bike. You're just seeing a lot of people being like, maybe I'm getting all these stress fractures and injuries because I'm running too much, and it might not be as much bang for his buck as I think it is, and there's a way to work around it. And so I hold pretty heavily to that. The bike
yeah.
is very useful.
I mean I like that. I don't have I would not disagree with that. So but I'm glad you feel strongly about that, and that's a good thing. Is there anything in the space outside of training that you think you have a strong feeling towards? Or actually, I want to
Mm,
be respectful of your time, and we only have about
yeah.
half an hour left on that. So
Okay.
let's get to talking about Melbourne here right after. Let me pull this stuff up, and while I'm doing that, I just want you what do you offer like coaching wise to your athletes or to anyone that wants to follow you? And you can tell them where to
Yeah.
find you after that. And I'm gonna get
For
our Melbourne preview stuff up here so we can talk about that next.
Beautiful. So from a coaching perspective, what I'll do is I do one-on-one coaching. And right now I cap my athlete count at around 50 to 55. That's about as many people as I can take on, and I feel like I can actually interact with and do a decent enough job that they're getting what they're paying for. So I have an athlete cap there, and once I get close to that, I'll just kind of nix things. And I'm sitting at like 48-ish right now. So I'm around what that cap is. Also have the 16-week ebook that you can buy for $90, and that'll prep you up really well. If you've already been training, jump to that. And we're going to be putting out here in the next week a beginner's guide, which is a 12-week kind of build up program. For a little lower price, we'll put that at around 60. And that's something for if you've never done a HYROX before, you've done a little bit of like training in your background, but you want to go ahead and integrate that in so that you can be prepared for your first race. That's what that's going to be tailored towards. So those are kind of the three things that I have now. And like super happy with where things are sitting with that, and I've gotten a lot of good feedback from the first ebook, and I'm excited to see how the next one can impact beginners. So
Awesome. It's fantastic. All right, so let's get on to Melbourne.
let's
Do
go.
you want to start? I know that, so if anybody doesn't know, Dylan's one of three people that already has his Elite 15 World Championship qualifier. He earned it in Hamburg, and in this race
Mhm.
in Melbourne, none of the previously qualified people, that's Alex Ronkovic, Dylan Scott, or Hide Wurzma, are traveling to Melbourne to take on this race. So for the men's side, you have to place top three to earn your qualifying spot in the solo. Before we get to that, Dylan, why aren't you in Melbourne?
It's a long way away. It's a simple answer. It's a very long trip. I've already punched my ticket. I probably, even if I wouldn't have punched my ticket, I probably would have held back anyway and just waited until Phoenix. Yeah, it was just not, I wasn't going to take that trip. Wasn't a need for it. So just didn't take it. That's basically why.
Nice. That's good. Um, all right. So going into this race on the men's side, of the Elite 15 men, seven of them, almost half the field, are racing in their very first Elite 15 solo race.
Crazy.
That's huge amount,
It's
big
huge.
turnover. So we talked about like what do people feel strongly about that nobody else
Hmm.
seems to agree with them with. I have two takes on that. The first one is that I hear a lot of people say, well, once they're in the Elite 15, it's easier to stay in. Absolutely, it is not. And this is just
Okay.
evident that when
Okay.
half the field turns over, what do you want? You want the whole field to be new every time?
I mean, you don't want the whole field to be new every time. I will say, I think it is, let's put it this way. I think it's easier to get in because a lot of people decline invitations. So like once you're in, it's easier to stay in. I agree because you're gonna have a better chance than if not. But I'll say like you have new people, but if we go through how many people declined to be there, how
It
many
rolled
new
down to
people do we
25th.
actually have?
So it rolled down to 25th, so 10 would have declined.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot. It's hard to crack in. I think it's very
It,
hard to crack in. And I'll even attribute like my first like I have a kind of a first mover advantage in the sense that I was in the sport early and that really helped me.
yeah, but I think you've progressed as well. I mean, it's evident you've progressed as well. But looking at the race, if 7 people are racing in their very first Elite 15, even with
Yes.
the roll downs, if 10 people decline, there's still more like Cole Learn, Josh Van Zelen, and Charlie Botterill were securely in the Elite 15. So that would have been 3 anyway.
Yeah.
Um, but that means that these people that are the first timers had to have gotten to that level where they had the opportunity to get a roll down as well,
hmm
right?
I'm
Having
not, I
never
mean,
raced before. So
I'm definitely not
I
saying that.
I'm not of the opinion that once you're in, it's easier to stay in. I think um I very much think that it is the people that are in are there for a reason. And the reason is because of how good they are.
No, I don't agree with that. I don't agree. I mean, I don't disagree with that. I
Yeah.
don't disagree with that. Like, I think the people that have gotten in, I think you'd be very hard to look at somebody who is in the Elite 15 and be like, oh, they're there because of a bunk, like,
Yeah.
reason. Maybe if they didn't have this course here, that there, then instead of being 15th, they might be 21st. But like I would say every single one of them are solidly in the top 25 in the world.
Hey,
You don't
my
randomly have a
argument
guy.
for it, my argument for it every time is okay, if you want this person that's on the outside looking in, if you want them in, who are you going to take out? Which one of those 15 people doesn't deserve to be there to put the person you think should be in there? Which one is out? And it's
Yeah,
always like,
well, I mean,
well, it's hard to argue
you're
that,
gonna get
right?
you're gonna get the college football debate that just happened.
Yeah,
That's what
right,
you're gonna get.
exactly.
We're gonna need a
Uh,
committee to get together in Texas
yeah.
and sit around and then tell us on Sunday that Notre Dame should have been in a conference.
And then they're just gonna not they're gonna boycott the whole season.
Yeah,
They're the other races. Stab themselves. All right, going to the race. So in the race, actually racing the top 15, auto qualifiers: Tim Vinesh, Hunter McIntyre, James Kelly, John Wynn, and then qualified on time, average time: Sean Noble, Cole Learn, Josh Van Zeelen, Charlie Botterill, Bo Wills, Jake Dearden, Alan Plow, Martin Inthoven, Graham Holiday, Liam McCrory, and Mark Dean. Um, we said top 3 get a spot. And for me, I don't know, in my opinion, looking at this, I think it's if this was last year and this was the lineup, I'd say, well, there's 3 people that are going to get the spot, and it's out of these 4, Tim, Hunter, JK, and Bo. Like out of those 4, it's going to be 3 of them if this was
okay.
last year.
Okay.
But I still think those 4 probably are leading the pack in terms
Yes.
of who you expect to get a spot. But there are, in my mind, probably, I mean, all these guys are out there to win or to earn that spot, but there are 3 that are on a very high momentum. And it
Let me
could carry
guess. Let me
on
guess. Let me
those
guess.
3. Yeah.
All right. Number one, old Charlie Botterill.
Yeah. Charlie is
You're throwing
absolutely, he's on
him.
a roll. He's going to be dangerous. And I think that if there's somebody who takes a qualifying spot that isn't one of those first 4 that I named, Tim, Hunter, JK, and Bo, Charlie is absolutely one that can take a spot from one of them.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think you're gonna actually put the Canadian Cole Learn in there.
The Canadian Cole Learn is definitely, and maybe that's a little home like North American bias there, but I think Cole is also on a roll, and
Yeah,
I think he has a little bit, and it's just the way he races. I think he's going to have a little bit tougher time than Charlie might
I
to try to
agree.
get that spot, uh,
Just from the
but
running
he does
perspective.
have a shot.
Yeah. All right. And now the one that I'm getting tied up on is who would you put third? I have two people. One guy is he seems to be making kind of a resurgence, but the other guy, are you leaning toward? I think you're either leaning towards Josh Van Zeelen or Jake Dearden.
Yep. So I'm leaning towards Josh Van Zeelen,
Okay.
mostly because he lives in Australia, easy travel. He has been on a roll in the APAC races, and I don't
Yeah,
think he's going to let up. And I think having one soul, he's got confidence that he might actually try to push a little bit there. So I think those 3 guys, if anybody's going to take a qualifying spot from one of those four that I said, those three I think have the best shot. Not that nobody else does. I think that a lot of people do. Uh, but I really think those are the three to keep an eye on during this race.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think that if you start rounding out, like if we were putting that group as the group that could all contend for the top three, if you started throwing in the rest of the names that could contend for the top five, I think you add
Mhm.
in like Jake Dearden, you add in Sean Noble, and you add in
Graham Holiday and John Wynn. Like, yeah, if
yeah,
you talk
those
about
and the
contending for the top five, it's experience at that point. And I think, yeah, those names are big. Um,
yeah, and then after that it's kind of 11, 12, 14, and 15 fighting for the back end of maybe. Yeah, I think that those guys finished outside the top 10.
and there's always surprises, like you never know, travel wise or um, just how it's going to go. But yeah, we're going to see, I think we're going to see a fight at the top and we're going to see a
Mm.
fight in the middle, maybe just outside of qualifying. I think the guys will still fight. I don't think they're just going to let it go because they didn't get their spot.
Well, there's still money. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, you're the positions that you're messing around with through 6 through 8, I believe, have different money than have 10 through 15. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you're still okay, $1,000 here, a little bit there. Like, you're still playing for that. But I mean, up at the top, I don't know if you've got your top three lineup, but I'm looking at this and I'm thinking it's Hunter, Tim, JK is how I have it played out right now. I think you see a little bit better version of Tim than you saw in Hamburg. The version of Hunter that I saw in Dallas is like he's very fit right now, very explosive, has good running up under him. Is like from a doubles perspective, he's in amazing double shape. So if it travels down there and it translates over to singles, um, he would be, in my opinion, probably the favorite. Um, Even though he's not the reigning world champion, which Tim is, but those are the three that I have in that order: Hunter, Tim,
Yeah.
JK.
Yeah. I mean, those are definitely three that I thought Tim did well last year in Hong Kong, similar travel.
Mm-hmm.
And but he's also been up and down in races. Obviously, super high, winning the world championships. He had a great weekend that whole time. Um, but then in Hamburg, it wasn't, the best race. Not qualifying. He was further down in the pack. So I just see it. And this is absolutely coach's bias, knowing like
Of
seeing
course.
what they've been doing. But I think the podium will consist of JK, Hunter, and Bo,
Okay.
whether in that order or not. But I think there's a big. I think it's a come from behind for Bo
That's how
to
he
get
has to
there,
race.
and that's how he does it. And I think it's a fight with JK and Hunter.
Okay. Put me a Nike boy on the podium with Bo. I'm for it. I love to see a swoosh on the podium.
I
Um,
I think yeah. I mean, getting a Kiwi in on the podium in the APAC regional or in the APAC major is just I think it'll be good too.
yeah, is it so of course, I mean people would probably know that you coach both JK and Bo,
Yeah,
correct?
JK and Bo. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was just making sure you still coach JK. I wasn't sure on that one. Um, so from Bo's perspective, what is just out of curiosity, what's coming along for him? Is his running continuing to level up, or is there
So
some?
I mean, I don't know if he actually talked about it much, but he did have he sprained his ankle super bad in I don't remember, it was like right before Glasgow or going into Worlds.
Okay.
And his running wasn't really coming along. With like he had a stress fracture in the past and he started getting similar
Yeah.
symptoms before
He had that
Worlds.
before Nice.
And so like it was managing that, and then he over the summer he took some run technique. He went to like some running coaches and got actual like, hey, keep your stride like this. They put him
Hmm.
on metronome stride, like so that
Yep.
his cadence is picking up. And it's produced a lot of positive results, I think. And
For
um
sure.
not maybe not faster than he has been running, but more efficiently, so it's taking less energy.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
because he loped. He kind of loped a bit. He
yeah,
had like a big
he had a gangster
rangy.
lean. He had a
Yeah, yeah,
gangster
yeah.
lean when he ran. Yeah.
So they had, I remember before World Championships at Nice, they had us for like media, they had us write roast for people. And of course, me taking advantage of it perfectly, I wrote a roast for everybody. And that was after Bo was coming off of the stress fracture. And I think I wrote for him, sticks and stones may break my bones, and so will running high mileage.
That's awesome. No,
Um,
did you get to tell him that before? Is that
yeah, yeah, of course.
yeah,
Absolutely. So I had a good time. I mean, I really like Bo. He's a good
yeah,
athlete to have in the space.
yeah, he's great. He's absolutely positive. So, okay, anything else on the men's race? Anything else you want to discuss?
Um, Not really. I mean, I think you see a rate like if we talked about race flow, how we're gonna see this go, it's gonna be explosive off the start, and I think you're gonna see that separation happen, like with your guys who can run. You're going to get a separation quite early. And
Yeah.
then, like you said, if Bo ends up fighting his way back into it, you're going to see it happen over the last like 12 minutes, where he's
Hmm.
not going to be that far out of contention. It's going to be maybe 30 seconds down, 40 seconds down, and you're going to see suddenly it's going to be like we hit the lunges, big leap. We hit the next run, we hit the big leap. It is how I would expect him to bring himself back into it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I expect to see. Pack off the front, get away, and then a couple of guys claw back in.
Yeah, absolutely. I could see that. Probably little breakaway, whether it's two or three people, and then maybe one of them will fade at the end, and I see could be leaped by Bo.
Yeah.
I think there's gonna be a trail pack though. I don't think it's gonna be like Bo. I think there's gonna be a group of two or three
Yes.
that are up front, and then I think
Yes.
there's gonna be like five or six guys that are jockeying for position that are maybe a minute down from that front lead by the farmer carry or like middle of the farmer carry.
Yeah.
Um, and it's just gonna be, I think there's gonna be a big fight for that third spot
Yeah, very well could be.
if there's not a third guy out in front with everybody else with the other guys.
Yeah, I can see that.
So, all right, cool.
Hop to the winners.
Women's race.
Women's race.
So I'll read through the Elite 15 women. On the starting list, Linda Meyer, Lauren Weeks, Joanna Wojcik, Sinead Bent, Lucy Proctor, Seka Arning, Melanie Marr, Gabrielle Nakora Baker, Jess Petro, Manuel Garcia Caparros, Kat Parnell, Ellie Stenfors, Zara Piergianni, Sophia Parvizi Wayne, and Tanya Strohschneider. These times are so fast. Sub
Yes.
62 is what it took on average to get into the women's race on this. And I think that rolled down to 19, 18.
Yeah. I mean, like the pace of the women's race is really, really picked up. And I feel like it's both sides are tight. Both sides.
Yeah,
I mean, now like if you average 56 right now for men, you're maybe 20th.
you're not in the Elite
Like
15.
no, and yeah, if you're doing 56, even if we go back to when they first made the change in the center like sleds or whatnot, you were still in a good spot.
Oh, you were
You
very
felt
good.
great. You're like
Yeah,
I'm 56. I'm in, boys. I'm top five, top six in the world. And so now on
yeah.
the women's side, like you weren't seeing almost any women sniff 61s, and now it's
Oh yeah.
every weekend. You
Yeah.
look at it, and you're like, oh
There's a dam at like that 61 where they're just backing up and like a couple of them get ahead and get those that 60 50 60 54 like but there is really just a lot of women coming in at that 61 getting to that 61 low mark um
yeah, and
there's
that's
a big
why,
crowd of people there.
like having the system at 15 people are getting in. I'm looking at it. I'm like, man, there could be somebody in 27th right now who you put them in the lineup, they have a great day, they finish third. Like it could happen. I've at least seen it happen on the men's side. Like I just reflect back to Chicago when Pelayo was like he was 30th and he got in and he finished third or fourth in Chicago that race. The one that I think Kent won, Rylan was second, Ronkovic third.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know if we'll see that anymore, like unknown people just jumping to the elites because on the women's side, on the men's side too, like I don't think somebody's going to come in their first race and throw down a 55, which is average for the Elite 15 men. But the the women's side, somebody coming in on their first race and trying to throw a sub 60, a sub 61, uh, I don't really see
I'm
that,
not, so
but
I'm not saying like on their first race, but I'm saying, okay, you've got to have two qualifying times. So they've raced like twice. And let's just say they've raced twice and maybe they happen to pull slow courses both times. Okay. But they still ran good times on slow courses. And it's got
yeah,
them sitting there. Like the sport is not developed enough yet, in my opinion, that we cannot have somebody from the outside come in and bust off some decent times that can put them in contention. And if we happen to just give them a shot, they couldn't be in there. 3 years from now, probably not. We'll probably be so
yeah.
developed past that point. But like, I'm still seeing way too many people burst onto the scene to.
I think there's people that can come into the scene and make the Elite 15, but
Mhm.
like on either side, cracking that top five, that's hard, especially if the field was full.
I mean,
Like,
no, I agree. It's hard.
yeah,
Um, but I don't think we're there yet to where we've got such a solidified grouping at the top that it's not impervious to just a very talented athlete getting the itch for it and finding their way in.
um,
Could be wrong.
could be, maybe we'll see. I think there'll be opportunity in the future for somebody to do that. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Um, I'd love to see it. I'd be very curious what background does that, like leads into
Cross
that.
country skiing.
Cross country skiing. All right. Uh,
That's my
I
guess.
maybe I don't know. It depends if they like running outside of their training and they do their cross. I mean, they got amazing engines. They have some kind of single leg strength, like so,
The
and
only
upper
thing that
body
they
strength.
don't the only thing they don't have is just like mechanics and deep ranges of motion or stuff like that.
Yeah,
But I'm sure, like, again, they could probably figure it out. If I can,
yeah,
if my biomechanically like inhibited ass could figure out how to do some wall balls decent, then they could figure it out too. All right.
yeah.
All
Sure.
right, but yeah, women's side. So we got the lineup there. Do you want to go on this end, or do you want to give me a prompt for guessing some stuff in your brain?
Um, well, so for the women's side, two people that have already qualified would be Lauren and Joanna, right?
Yeah,
So more more likely than not, the qualifying here is top five.
yeah,
Like place top five, you get your qualifying spot, as opposed to the men's side where you have to podium. Um, Leaning towards this side, I think there's four people that like the three qualifying spots should come from these four,
mm-hmm.
but I think there's two others, maybe three others as well that are like have a shot to take one of those qualifying spots.
Okay, well, three of your four. So I mean, like we've gone ahead and said Lauren and Joanne are out of this. So three of your four are Linda, Sinead, and Lucy.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm assuming that's three or four. Your
yeah.
next one in here to round out that four. Ooh, I'm either thinking, well, I'm between two. I'm between Becca or Gabriella.
It's Saka.
Becca, okay.
I've seen. Um, I think Seka's the strongest female out of any of the females that race, and her running's coming along. It looks better every
Okay.
time you see her. Um, if you really think about it, like Hamburg, she was fourth. Worlds wasn't great. I don't know if she had like, I think she talked about having reds or something there.
Okay.
So some nutrition issues. She was fourth in Glasgow. Like she, when she's on, she has a really, really good shot. And so I actually would think out of those four, three of them are going to get the qualifying spot.
Yeah. And
Lucy,
then
Linda, Seka, and Sinead.
okay. And then your two outsiders that might have like a shot in. Did you have Gabriella in there? Because she's been racing pretty well.
She's been very consistent. She's good. Like I actually got to watch her in Chicago as well, do the
Mm-hmm.
race. I don't know because I think there's two others that just have been more consistent and are on like a roll to do pretty well here.
So
And I think in the
Zara and
women's,
Jess.
what's that?
Zara and Jess.
Yeah, well, Jess, and I actually think Manuela is looking
Oh,
pretty
okay.
strong in all of her races recently. So
That's true.
um, I think if anybody's gonna take away the qualifying spot, it's one of them. But really, you know. for Jess or Manuela, it's going to be hard for anybody to beat those other four girls, Linda, Sinead, Lucy, or Secca.
I
Uh,
agree. I will throw my hat in the ring for the dark horse for the Kiwi.
yeah, I hope she does. I mean, I know her and Bo are training like the last lead up together.
Yeah,
She's intimidating on the start line. She was very nice in Chicago. So I think she's got a really good shot. I always am kind of hesitant when it's a rookie at their first elite race, not even having ran, or she has ran the elite doubles, but
yeah.
like she's pretty young in the sport still too.
For sure, but that's the thing about why you pick a rookie as a dark horse because they're the ones that you don't know what you don't know, and you go out there and you're just blind to it, and you're like, I have nothing to lose, dog. And
Yeah,
then all of a sudden you catch a day, and you're like, oh, I'm in third right now, and there's two stations left. Maybe I got something, you know, maybe
yeah,
I'm having a moment right now, and now the repeatability could be different, but yeah, that's I would always like to pick somebody with seemingly a lot of potential, but also not a lot of experience to be the person who maybe surprises folks.
yeah. So how do you see this race going if you were to call top five?
How do I see it going if I call top five?
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I'm gonna assume your wife's in shape. I'm gonna assume she's pretty fit right now. Uh, so I mean, I'm taking her to win it. I'll take her to win it. I always bet on Lauren. Like, even if I don't think Lauren's gonna win, I bet on Lauren. Just because I believe in her so much. Racing her at the Lifetime Games when we came off the first 1K together, I was like, God, she's running hard. Um, so I'm gonna take Lauren to win, Joanna second, give me Linda third, give me a surprise ish, give me Seka fourth, and then give me the Kiwi. Give me the Kiwi fifth. To take a qualifying spot and surprise both Sinead and Lucy.
Okay. I I mean, no reason to argue with that. I would say I think similar. I think Lauren's gonna win. Um, I think the podium will probably though in my head, I think it consists of Lauren, Lucy, and Joanna. Um,
Okay.
I always back the people I just see what they do on the back end and I know where they're at
Yeah.
like mentally. So it's going through
Okay.
that. But I think Seka's in fourth and I think Belinda's
Okay.
fifth. So there's your top five and there's your qualifying spots.
Sweet. I mean, you got more insights to the people than I do, with regards to their training and how
It's
everything's going.
it's really hard. I always feel bad like if I pick somebody though, because like I don't want everybody to think that I don't believe in them. But like those are the five I think are doing really well. Cause like
Mhm.
and most of the time it's like I want to pick Sinead in there too, but I
Yeah.
don't know. And we know that she didn't go to Hamburg because she had an injury. So we just don't
Yeah.
know. And so it's that uncertainty.
I mean, if you're taking it personal that somebody didn't pick you in a guess of where you're gonna finish at, they didn't say like, bro, I think you're a failure at life and you suck at everything you do. It's just like, I think that this person might be better than you on that day, and maybe just prove me wrong. Like, if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
just prove me wrong, and then go,
They'll
see,
get it.
stupid. Like,
Yeah. I think so Jess Petro moved back to Australia, so easy race, easy travel for her too. So I
for
mean there's a
sure.
big boost as well. So that's why like I think if there's somebody that comes out swinging and has a really good shot, it's going to be Jess.
I'll be excited to see it. I won't be watching it when it happens because it happens at night or early in the morning. That'll be my bike. Like, I'm gonna watch this stuff
You're
on my
not going to
bike.
stay up. You're not going to
Hell
stay
no.
up and
Here's
are you going to
here's
get
what
on
I've always
Instagram before you watch?
no. Here's what I've always thought about. And this I feel like every athlete should adhere to this. If your competition is racing in a different time zone, causing you to mess up your sleep schedule and your recovery to watch them compete, you're being a dummy because they're getting one over on you. You're messing up your training to watch them race when you can watch it 6 hours later, get the same information, but get recovered. You're stupid. Go to bed. That's what I believe heavily in.
Yeah.
Go to bed.
Well, I'm still going to stay up.
Yeah, well
But
that's why you need
you're
a 10-minute head start.
well Well, you're also on the East Coast of the US, which is 3 hours ahead of me. So for the women go at 9 p.m. for me uh
Yeah,
tomorrow. So I can stay up and watch that. The men go at midnight. I'm usually up
yeah.
till 2 a.m. anyway, so not a big deal.
Crazy schedule. That's all right.
Yeah. I
That's
sleep
an
like
absurd schedule.
I sleep like 2 or 3 a.m. to like 8 a.m. sometimes. When Lauren's gone, it's even less than that because
Dude,
can't sleep.
how
So
how do you, dude, I can't function like that.
I can't function like that either. I need more, and usually I'll get like one big day a week.
Well,
There's a
that's
reason
fair.
I need a 10-minute head start.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Well, we're figuring things out here.
All right.
I've
Uh,
got time. We can go through women's and men's doubles. I got time, and we'll be
all
good
right.
if you
Yeah,
got
I was
time.
gonna say I don't want to like take up your time, but let's do the men's doubles here real fast. And then whatever time you got,
Yeah, we
we'll
can
wrap
hit
up
these.
the women's doubles. So men's doubles. Um, Based on qualifying time, the lineup reads, I'm not going to read all of them. There's a lot. Go look at Rocks Life or HYROX World. There's 30 names on here, but top time
Yeah,
is Alexis Burner and Marco Nikic, followed by Jake Williamson and Alan Flo, who already have a world qualifying spot. And then Charlie Botterill and Ollie Russell and JK and Jake Dearden, who also already have a world qualifying spot. So
so
looking at the
looking at it,
list,
hmm
there's opportunity, I feel like, here for some unknown or like not unknown, but teams that maybe not would have not gotten a shot at other majors are going to have a shot to
yes,
actually qualify for worlds here out of this one.
yes. And looking at this now, there is one team that I don't think can qualify, which is Tim and Michael, because Tim's already qualified
Tim's
with
already so
Alex.
yeah, so Tim Vinish is already qualified with Alex Ronkovic. So unless he comes out before the race in the next 24 hours and says Alex and I are giving up our qualifying spot and it rolls down in Hamburg right now, then
Yeah,
he can't earn a qualifying spot, but he can still place and earn whatever the prize money is from the race.
yeah, because I mean they did have to stretch a bit to fill this field out. Like
And they do because like the top 40 is littered with people that have ran multiple times. And you can't get
exactly.
rid of them because they ran that time. They get the opportunity, like just because it's half the same team, they still get the opportunity to race that race.
Yeah, from a
Um,
doubles perspective, Jake Williams has basically had a polyamorous relationship with. You see his name littered throughout there. I was like, dog,
everywhere. Every
yeah.
guy in the top
I'm like,
50.
you better
Yeah.
be wearing protection, homie.
I think this is the first time he's actually gone with the same partner in back in two elite races, right? So
Yeah.
Jake and
So
Allen.
yeah, so if we look at this lineup right here, the thing you got to take into account is some of these teams are racing fresh, some of these teams are racing with a tired partner. I
Or
think
two tired
that
partners. Yeah.
or two tired partners. Um, I think your winning team out of this, I think Jake and Allen win this. They're both fresh. They won't have raced. I think they're both healthy. Like I just raced Jake not that long ago. He was having a rough day out there, but he's still very fit. So I think Jake and Allen win this. The next team in there, and it really depends on how the sleds and everything move, is that team of Marco and Alexis. I like to play towards the fresher teams. They ran 49-41. Um, and if they have a good day, they can race well. They didn't race really well in Hamburg, to be honest. But I think that they have a chance to be up there. And then the next team that I'm going to have in that top three, they've shown that they can double back really well. I'm going to have a hard time taking JK and Jake out of it, like for that
Yeah.
third spot.
I agree. And so that means you only have one team qualifying because you have the two teams that already qualified. So who else qualifies? You would roll down to fifth. I also have I think JK and Jake are going to give Jake Williamson and Allen. I think those are your 1-2 teams. I don't think
Yeah.
I think they're out there flying, but there's got to be three teams that qualify. So right now you have Alexis and Marco as one of them. Who else do you
Uh-huh.
see can qualify?
It's a team that has gotten in really late, but has a lot of potential is the Belgians, all the way down in 14th.
Yeah,
They've
they
got a
race
lot of
really well
potential.
together.
They race
Yeah.
really well together. And then it is a coin flip for me between and it what it comes down to with this team of Jeremy McConnell and Fabian Eisenhower is can they not get penalties and can they not lose their heads? So if they start picking up penalties, they're going to take themselves out of it because both of them have personalities and race personalities that are very explosive and they can be their own worst enemies at times. And if they start getting called on something at like a sled pull or a burpee broad jump, I could see them very much. making multiple mistakes and getting themselves
So
penalized out.
one penalty goes from 15 seconds compounds to a minute.
Yeah. So I could see
Yeah.
that happening. If they race a clean race, the two of them have a very good chance
Yeah.
of being that last team in my opinion. So yeah, that's actually what I'm looking at. I don't have an order for the three that get in, but give me the team of Marco and Alexis, give me the team of Peter and Tom, and give me the team of Jeremy and Fabian.
Yeah. You like all the new people. I always go towards I always lean towards historical and the people that have raced there before, especially like at
Yeah.
Worlds. And I think JK and Jake Dearden and Jake Williamson and Alan Plough, those two teams are going to be fighting for that 1-2.
Yeah,
I think it might be a
absolutely.
late push by JK and Jake to crack that 50 minute and get up near them. But I think in terms of qualifying, it's going to be really hard this time to keep Charlie and Ollie out of it. They were close last
Sure.
time, served the penalty. The penalty didn't cost them the race, but it did cost them a few spots after qualifying. So I'd say Charlie and Ollie. I think Graham and John, depending on the flow of the race, have a good shot of uh, earning a qualifying spot. And then Bo and Eugenio, um, like they competed at Worlds. They were like fourth or fifth at World Championships in the doubles. Like it's
Hmm.
there's experience. They know how to race it. I think some dangerous teams, Ollie Fricker and Sean Noble. But I really would like to see, since they're making the trip, Jarrett Newby and Hayden Warner, just get
I
up
would
there, like do
I
something.
would love for them to. That's a I said it the other day, but like I have a group chat with them called Old Men with Questionable Backs. Because
Hey,
two
hey,
two of us have yeah, oh you could be in there because two of us have like back injuries. Like Hayden deals with sciatica stuff. I have a back problem and Jared's just old. Um, so I would love to see them race really well. In the way that you bet on experience, I like none of these guys are inexperienced with racing high rocks.
no,
So I don't see a lack of experience, but I do see fresh legs. And I
yeah.
bet fresh legs over experience when I know that both teams have raced a decent amount. So that's why I lean the other way. But like your line of thinking makes sense. So I can see how it goes that way. And yeah, you're
The
right. Charlie and Ollie will
Yeah, I
be
mean it's gonna be really hard to call. Like I think we're aligned that I think the two teams that have already qualified for the Elite 15, they're gonna be in the top one, two, three. Like I
hmm
don't see him not being up there. Our co-host on this show, JK, I'm always gonna say him going for it. But the three that qualify is gonna be it's gonna be really hard to pick. Like I could see any team has a case for getting a qualifying spot there. I do think Charlie and Ollie might be the prohibitive like favorite to earn a qualifying spot, not
hmm
to win, but to earn a qualifying spot.
Yeah, on your end, again,
Yeah,
I'm betting on legs
yeah. You
versus
Alexis and Marco. Yeah,
I'm gonna bet on fresher legs, but Charlie also like Charlie's gonna be the one that's coming back a little bit tired, and that I mean that kid's got an
but
engine and
Charlie's never fresh. I don't think he's ever raced fresh, so it's
Charlie's
just
never raced
another
fresh.
race for him.
He really like I yeah he could be the anomaly that throws us off. That is fair. The boy can just eat and eat races.
Yeah. All right. Gone a little bit over, but
That's fine.
let's hit up the Elite 15 Pro Doubles Women. Um, Reading through just real fast, we have all three teams that qualified out of Hamburg are going to be here. So the in all likelihood, going through this, all likelihood it goes down to sixth place for who
hmm
qualifies. So your three qualifying teams: Lauren Squared, that's Lauren Weeks and Lauren Griffith, Joanna Wettrick and Jess Petro, and then uh, Zara Piergianni and Gabriella Moriarty have already all qualified. Throwing into the mix, Lucy and Sinead coming back for their first race together since Worlds. Um, Manuela is racing with Seca, and then at World Championships in the age group doubles, Meg and Molly put down a pretty fat one of the fastest times ever as doubles women, and so
hmm
they're gonna show what that is coming into this race.
Yeah, and I mean, to be honest, do we want to go with, all right, we've got our three teams that are already qualified. Do we want to go with our three qualifiers or do we just want to go with our top
Well,
six?
in my so looking at this, I think there's three teams that break away, and it's a race of three teams, and one of those teams hasn't qualified. I really think it's going to be Lauren and Lauren, Lucy and
Hmm.
Sinead, and then Joanna and Jess. Like, I think those three teams are going to be out in front. And then since Lucy and Sinead don't have their qualifying spot yet, that takes one of them. I think
Okay.
Zara and Gabriella are probably in that 4 to 6 range. And so who else, what other teams would qualify? Let's just talk about who do you think is going to be the qualifying out of this field?
Well, the first thing I'm so hung up on is Zara Piergiani, Gabriella Moriarty, England. You're gonna tell me that's not an Italian team right there? You got two
So
women with different
Zara's
postures as
married.
their
Zara's married to an
yeah,
Italian man. So she's English, but her last name is Piergiani is
yeah,
makes it.
yeah. We got Zara Pierogi and Gabriella Mussolini. Like
Well, Moriarty, isn't that like for
I
some
do not
reason the Moriarty name to me wasn't that like the bad guy in Sherlock Holmes was named
that name
Moriarty?
that the name it rings a bell, but the bell is so faint that I can't tell where it's coming from.
Okay. So like that sounds like an English name to me because I'm uh correlating it with Sherlock Holmes, but I
That
don't
dude,
know.
it might be like if we trace the lineage back, it's like Dylan, this is totally English and you're an idiot.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
this could all, but so yeah, so we've got those as our top 14. I think that we're gonna see the
We're
team of
gonna get
Molly and
we're gonna get
Meg.
canceled. It's gonna be like a Wells versus English, and we're saying English instead of UK. It's gonna be
Dude,
bad.
I
All
don't.
right, go
They
ahead.
can. That's their problem. They can do if they want to hate each other that are living that close. Y'all hate each other. Don't worry about me. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, give me Molly and Meg to be in that mix. I think that they've put down they put down a very impressive time, and I think that they can run. And in doubles, running is very much at a premium. Um,
Yeah.
and then that last team to get in.
Alicia Martin and Eleanor Thomas? Or are you talking about Gabrielle and Nakora Baker and Nicola Georgia Macbeth?
No. I'm talking about what's my last. I'm not the last team on the
Oh,
list. My last team to get in. I'm looking over and thinking. Let's give me the Vanden Lindenloofs.
I was gonna say I don't think you
Give
can
me
pass up on the Van den Lindenloos.
yeah, give me the Vanden Lindenloofs to take that last qualifying spot.
Yeah. I think I think you're pretty close there. I don't know. I've never seen Molly and Meg race, and I've never seen them duplicate a time together or individually
Hmm.
to like make me lean that way. So uh as far as qualifiers go, I think Lucy and Sinead are in one of the qualifiers. I think the Van and Linden Loofs have a really good shot at getting it, but I think Manuela and Seca
Okay.
are in a qualifying spot here. And I
Yeah,
know,
and so
they're not fresh legs. Both of them will have raced the night before, but I think that that's going to be your three qualifiers. I think Jade Skill and Cap Parnell have a shot. And there
hmm
are some really fast teams here, but I think heat of the race is gonna dictate who tries to stick with those teams that go in the front and
hmm
who's just gonna eat up the field.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at the skill set of the Vanden Lindenloofs, they're more of a eat up the field kind of
Yeah.
team that could work that they might be out of it and work their way back in.
Well,
Um,
I mean, they're probably going to be in seventh, eighth for a little while, but I don't see how they finish outside of the top six. I mean, they were top five at Worlds, right? They were fifth, so they're
yeah, I mean, and
powerful.
they
They're
just
good.
raced over the weekend. I think they were
Did they?
second at London, but yeah, I think that I agree with you for the most part. That's how it shapes out. But then I'm just gonna lean, like I said, on same thing on the men's side. I'm gonna lean on the fresh legs over the experience and put them in instead of your team of Kaparos and Arning, which I always thought her
Yeah.
name was Seka Awning. Like I didn't know there was an R in there.
Awning, like a table awning or like an outdoor.
Yeah, I just thought you pronounced it Awning. Like I didn't. That R
It
just
could
completely
be.
slipped me.
She's German. I looked it up. The Van den Loos were third this past weekend in London. They
Pretty
finished
tight though.
57-53.
That's not a great time, to be honest.
Yeah, not for them.
not for them. So, either way, I'm gonna bet on the power of sisterhood.
Yeah. I think they were saving it for the major. That's what it was.
Yeah, they were just cruising.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right.
all right. I think that takes care of all
Well,
the race stuff.
Dylan, thank you for jumping on here for an hour and a half with me. Might be our longest episode we have ever
Let's
had.
go.
But I'm glad we got to learn a lot about you and your coaching from a different perspective rather than just being an athlete, how you approach the coaching and the others who want to help in this space, in this field. We got a lot of years together that we're going to be seeing each other, bud. And I'm glad we were able to go through Melbourne, and I will see you in Phoenix, right?
Yeah, man. I will see. Yeah,
That
next race will
is
be in Phoenix.
7 weeks away.
Oof, I need to start doing something to be ready. There's a few
You
things I
got
need to work
Christmas and
on.
New Year's in there. Yeah.
Dude, you think a holiday matters to me? Not one bit. Not one bit.
That's
As
when you
long
put
as
on a Santa hat during your workout.
exactly. That's the difference. I'm wearing a Santa hat or I have like those little glasses that say like 2026 on. Those are
Yeah.
the everything else stays exactly the same.
Nice. Nice. All
All
right.
right, well, I'll leave with this. All you athletes that might be staying up late and messing up your bedtimes to watch these races, go to bed. You can watch them in the morning.
All right, everyone. Thank you very much for listening. Have a great day. Thank you for listening to the Hybrid Coaching Podcast. If you'd like to reach out and get in contact with us, you can email the Hybrid Coaching Podcast at gmail.com, or you can find us on Instagram either at the Hybrid Engine or at jk.jameskelly. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.